Hello, hello, hello. Good evening and welcome to day 5. Yes, we hope to go on the 31 day stretch, God willing. So, welcome to day 5 of 31 days to declutter and deconstruct the mind for clarity, to gain clarity. I know it's pretty late on this end, but I'm just putting it out there so it will be on the page of The Woman Called You, and ultimately for people who would like to watch later. So, quick reminder of what The Woman Called You is all about. It's simply a platform where we consistently try, do our best to inspire change through personal growth. Like I always say, you can't give what you don't have. So here at The Woman Called You, we consistently, grow in terms of knowing who we are, knowing our whys, and knowing how to chart the course of this world in which we live in. So, yesterday was all about the technique of brain dumping, and I'm so glad with the feedback. For those of you who did not watch it yesterday, you can refer to the post before this one on the Woman Called You platform, or you go to our Facebook page. The Woman Called You. Just it's a private page, so just click and make a request and join in. Like I said, by God's special grace, we'll be able to get to day 31. And at the end of the day, it's my hope that someone out there, will not just understand why it's important to have clarity, have a mind that, is clear, but also would understand the importance of having to declutter and deconstruct. Like I always remind us, the story in the Bible where we're told, or I don't like to call the things that happen in the Bible story. I just say the account in the Bible where we're told of how when evil spirits are chased out of a man, it's like a house has been emptied. And if it remains empty for long, they come back with, their friends and family members and fill up the space. Same thing with when you declutter your mind. When you declutter your mind, it's like unlearning to relearn. So you don't just declutter your mind and your mind just stays like that and just empty. No. So today, like I promised yesterday, we'll be using the 4D'S of productivity, the technique of the 4D'S of productivity to declutter our minds. And for those of us who are acquainted with the 4D'S of productivity, they're simple. It's the first D is to do, the second D is to delete or drop, the third D is to defer, and the fourth D is to delegate. So you'll be wondering, how can we use this technique to just get rid of all those things that make our minds run away? I'm going to be quite brief today. So, like you, as usual, I always say, look, this is a kind of a teaching series. It's not a preaching series. So I more or else like teaching. So today, the first D we'll be examining in the 4 Ds of productivity is do. And what does it mean? Remember yesterday we talked about the brain dump, where you put all your thoughts on paper, no filters whatsoever. You just say it exactly as it is and just not be kind to yourself at all. Just pour it all out and begin. Remember, I taught us the solution numbering system where you even put those issues that are plaguing your mind. You prioritize them, which is the most important one, this and that. Then, like I said, when you're doing the brain dump, you don't have to be elaborate. You just simply, you can put bullet points. But when you now sit down to study what you have dumped on the paper, you begin to prioritize what is important and what is not. Then, even after prioritizing, you have what you call the elaboration. You now decide, why do I think I have this issue? And from then you begin to walk through any solutions you can come up with. So, today, one of the ways of elaborating on the issues you've put on your brain dump, we will begin to examine how we can use these 4 Ds of productivity for elaborating and maybe ultimately coming to an understanding, or like reaching a compromise on how we should deal with the things we need to declutter our minds of. So the first do is this: simply put, act. You have brain dumped. You have said all these things that are happening in my mind. Like I said, it's not necessarily physical. All these things that are happening in my mind. Where do I start from? So you started yesterday by doing a brain dump. So that's the first day of productivity. You know, you have embarked on. You decided to act. You decided to confront your demons, so to speak. You decided to act. You're like, no, this is enough. I just need to deal with this issue. So you decided to act. You've identified those things that consistently are at the front burner of your mind. Not even productive things, remember? Like I said yesterday, the brain is it's not supposed to be a hard drive. You don't just put things and store things in there. It's supposed to operate as a CPU, constantly processing thoughts, coming up with solutions coming up with yeah, we're back. Yeah. I'm so excited. Thank God. So I can't really recall at what point I was, but I think I was just saying and reminding us that the brain is not a hard drive. Your mind is not a hard drive. It's supposed to operate as a CPU, constantly processing information. And I said yesterday, since you most likely, for those of you who probably watch later, you know, you've done your brain dump. So that's the first step. You've decided to act. You decided to do something about it. You've decided that, look, I'm not going to host a pity party in my mind anymore. Yes, these issues are much. And remember, like I'm saying, the decluttering, we're not decluttering our mind of, say, okay, so many things I have to do and all of that. Yes, there are different types. We're saying we're decluttering our minds for clarity, decluttering our minds of all those things that make don't make sense but constantly play drum in our heads, you know. So the first thing is to act. So you've done your brain dump, you've assessed it, you now decide to elaborate on it, you now decide that you want to seek solutions, you don't just sit down there. So the second one is, I'll just quickly put this thing on the screen. Like I said, we're using the management principle of the 4Ds of productivity. The first being do, and I've just quickly just dealt with that. The second one is what is called delete and drop. Remember, you did your brain dump. Remember, you did your solution numbering system of now saying, okay, all these issues, let me still prioritize them. And then you begin to ask yourself, what is the thing that I've been mulling over in my mind, I've given myself sleepless nights all about, and it's not serving me anything. It's not doing anything good for me. In the long run, it's not going to be self-serving in any way. As many of us were like that. Like I was talking about people who would overcommit. You want to please people, and you know that at the end of the day, you end up being worn out. You don't get the prerequisites of satisfaction that you actually thought you were going to get. So why bother with such activities? At this point, you will begin to say, which thing, what are the thoughts? What are the thoughts that I constantly host a pity party about that I need to delete? I need to delete. Like I said, you may choose to declutter your mind. You may choose to do everything I've been listing for the past couple of days, but you need to do it in steps. There is no quick fix. There is no magic wand. Your mind has been cluttered for so long. It will take time to declutter, deconstruct, tear yourself away from thoughts you bought into, especially where your thoughts are self-deprecating. When you continue to tell yourself you're not good enough, you can't just wake up in the morning, except probably for a miracle by divine intervention. You can't just wake up in the morning and say, now, you know, I have clarity. I doubt if it happens like that. Maybe it does for some people, but I won't come here and say I have any, precedent in such matters. So, like I said, you need to choose, you need to decide, what am I deleting? What activity does not serve me? Especially when you know the result you want. There's this saying, you can't, when you keep doing the same thing and expect different results, it's tantamount to insanity. So what are those things you do? What are those mental attitudes that plague you, that do not serve you? It's like they call it a hamster's wheel. You're going round and round in a circle. I'm sure most of you know when they use hamsters in laboratories, it's round. So because they're using them as test subjects, even when there is how do you call it? Science students know it. It says it's a difference between motion and movement. There's so much this thing, but they're not going anywhere. That's what these terrible thoughts in our minds consistently do to us. So you need to choose today to delete. Press delete. If it's a relationship, press delete. If it's self-deprecating thoughts, even when you press delete, sometimes it takes time for that thing to delete. But just commit to it one day at a time, and it will be possible. Then the third one, remember I said we're using the 4Ds of productivity, is to defer. uh, Whether we like it or not, it's not every thought that should be on the front burner of your life. You wear yourself out. Not every thought can be on the front burner of your life. You need to choose to know what you will defer. You can't get that car you want now. Why kill yourself? Why have sleepless nights? Defer that grandiose, luxurious thing you planned, and begin to plan for what you are able to do. Most of the time, The things that trigger our stress are because we are committed to do something where our hand or reach this. There's this thing they say, you won't put your hand where your hand no reach. I don't know how that adage goes. So you need to begin to defer. Put it in the back burner. Yes, you want to drive a Jeep. Don't break your head about it. You can file it away. There's what they call, in management, we have KIV, keep in view. So it doesn't in any way, say anybody's trying to trivialize your dreams. It's okay to dream, you know. Nobody's trying to make light of your ambition. But right now, for your mental health, you need to choose to begin to defer certain things. Say, later I will come to this. Remember the brain dump technique? Put it down. You will come to it. KIV. You go to some offices, you bring something. They will tell you it's in the KIV file. It's not as if they won't come to it eventually. But the fact is that for that time, it is not needed. For that time. So that's the same way with the thoughts we have in our mind. There are some thoughts that are not needed at that point in time. Put them at the back burner. Revisit, but put them at the back burner. So finally, the fourth D is delegates. And that's the truth. Most of the weight we carry on our shoulders, most of the things that occupy our heads, is because we want to prove that we can do everything. It's probably out of a need for people to validate us. Yeah, it's only natural that you want people to applaud you. I remember this guy then, Charles Okocha, when he used to say there's this skit he did once that just went viral, you know, when he says, I give me my accolades. Sometimes the inordinate pursuit of accolades can wear you out because you want to do it all by yourself. And saying to a gorgeous woman who will be watching this now or maybe much later, you can't do it all. You can't do it all. So make and take that decision today. Go back to your brain dump list. Go back and look at those things, those thoughts. For those of you who probably do not have any kind of mental stress, like I said yesterday, you can do a brain dump for your to-do list to give your to-do list more structure, to organize yourself. So even in choosing to organize yourself, you should also apply these 4 Ds of productivity. The do, the delete and drop, the defer and delegate. So my hope is that someone will understand that decluttering your mind is not a one-day affair. The point at which your mind is right now, it didn't take a day. So it will take some time. But the good thing about time is that it does come to pass. So as I round up today, I'm just quickly going to put it on the screen again. Number 1, do. Act. Decide to elaborate, decide to identify, and choose to do something about it. Number 2 is delete and drop. If it's not worth your time, delete it. Delete it from your mind. And like I said, yesterday, the technique of the brain dump, affords us the opportunity to look at the issues of our life on paper. I remember I said, don't be kind to yourself. Say it as it is. It won't kill you. Because, like I said yesterday, so many of us overcommit. You are here, you are there, you want everybody to like you. Meanwhile, you are not happy. You have a superior, whether in your workplace, wherever you find yourself, they stress you out, you are not happy, and you keep on pretending. You're going to end up with mental stress. You will end up with mental stress. So you need to decide, am I going to delete that thought? Remember, I'm not talking about actionable things. You just need to decide that you see this thing that makes me worry, that is a, trigger for me. I will not consider it as important anymore. There's this thing, this adage they say, when you pour water on a chicken, it's like water off the back of a chicken. It will just shake. It doesn't really get into the chicken. When you choose to delete and drop, you condition yourself and see that things don't get to you. Like I've been saying in the last couple of days, people will say, oh, you're turning 52, you don't look it, don't look it. I used to look much more older than myself than I am now. But the thing is, I decided that nothing will live rent-free in my head. Remember on the first day I said I used to have terrible pressure headaches. Terrible pressure headaches. But I decide to mentally begin to delete those things. It's not about blocking. No. Confront it. Like I said, write it yesterday when I taught the brain dump technique. This thing this man is doing to me, this my boss is doing to me, gives me headache. I don't like it. I don't do this. But beyond that, you begin to consider, is it something about me that makes this happen? Is this, by the time you start, you don't need to go sit before a shrink. And the third is defer. It's not everything that we have to do now. And when you begin to defer, you'll be able to tell people, no, not now. No. Like I was saying, there's some people, they engage themselves in so many things. They don't have time for their families, and it makes them guilty. They feel guilty. That's mental stress. So you need to learn to defer and say, you see that thing, I'll do it, but not now. I won't let that thing worry me anymore. Let me just wait. Okay, I don't have 40,000 naira now to do that thing. Okay, I'll wait. Like yesterday, I went somewhere to get a phone for one of my sons, my bonus, because I had promised him. And when I got there, I saw where some people will hold a phone like this, carton of phone, and they will snap them. I said, is there a bonanza ahead of? And I didn't take part in. It was slots. The next thing, after a few minutes, because I now wanted to repair the screen of my phone. It cracked. I think I shared on social media some days ago how my phone fell from my hand. I was so, if I didn't even know I could change screen. So I was waiting for they call them slot engineers. I will not see another person with a box, stand, take picture. The salesperson will use their phone to take them picture. You know me, I don't like to mind my business most times. I now asked the guy, said, oh boy, come. What did they happen? He said, it's he called it one name like this. I said, what is that? He said, then they pay small, small. Hey, Jesus. I said, they gave where did they pay small, small? Now tell me I buy full phone. He now said to me, said, ma, those pay small, small phone is a different kind of phone. But what am I saying? My dear, you need a phone. Why are you killing yourself? Imagine those pay small, small phone. They said it can do Facebook, oh, it can do this, oh, it can do that. But if you are a gamer, you can't use it because of, I don't know, all this, their technical jargons and everything. But I said, see, somebody will be crying they don't have phone. They can go and buy phone of 25,000 and pay 4 times. That relieves you of your stress. So you will now defer that big phone you have and come and buy this small phone and be paying small, small. Then finally, quick reminder, delegate. You don't have to tell everybody that you have all the power in the world. Only you can do it. Only you can do it. Then you go back at home. You get back home. Your children will talk. You will snap because you have expended all your energy, your brain energy, everything, your mental energy. You've expended it on other people, and you come and your family suffers. So I don't know whether I've been able to make any sense today. But it's day 5. We still have 26 more days to go. And like I said, if you want added clarity, on any of the things I've said, you can send a message. If you have my phone, we can talk. Because one of the things I said the other day, I said, one of the ways of decluttering your mind, especially when you can talk, let it out, talk. But just prayerfully seek to be directed to a person to talk with. I told you I have somebody I call my 5 and 6. I offload to her. I have somebody I call my sisterly. Every time I'm like, even if it means to cry, because I can't put it all in. All it takes is one day at a time. Like I said, and I will say to a woman, it doesn't matter what you're going through. One step at a time. One day at a time. Yes, you pray, you do all of that. It's okay. It's wonderful to do all of that. But guess what? By the time you take tools like this and technique and add it, ask God for the grace for you to follow through on these things. That's where knowledge comes. You begin to know. It's just like somebody who says, I'll pray, pray, pray. Then you don't read for your exam. You don't study. God is not a magician. So I just pray that even as you begin to open up your mind for change, you'll get the change you desire. Because like I said to you, in The Woman Called You, we inspire change through personal growth. If you don't grow, you can't give anything to anybody. Once again, thank you for today. And like I said, sorry I came on late, but I just needed to do this. God bless you. See you tomorrow. And I pray I'll be able to see you tomorrow because I'll be somewhere. And I hope we'll have very good internet connectivity to be able to do this. But that being said, I might just do a recording and then maybe find a place, go and stand on top of a tree somewhere and now broadcast it. God bless you. Good night and see you tomorrow.